I want you to pull out the Pathfinder panel. To do that, if it's in here docked, so like I can dock it here, I'm going to dock it right there. You'll see it right there. It has two squares overlapping. So I'm going to click on Pathfinder, and then when you want to keep it open, which we do, I'm just going to drag it over here. So Pathfinders are great. There's so many shapes that if you tried to draw them freehand, it would be hard to get it just perfect. But by using Pathfinders and cutting one shape out of another, you can make all kinds of stuff. It's really useful, and it's pretty self-explanatory because in the Pathfinder, you have shape modes and you have the Pathfinders. If you hover over them, they will tell you what they are and what they do. So this is unite, minus front, intersect, and exclude. So I'm going to show you how these work. So first we'll do unite. So unite will take the frontmost object. So this blue, whatever object is in front, that's what it's going to color. When we're making these, like, don't pay that much attention to what color it ends up being because you can recolor it, right? So it doesn't matter. You don't have to like, oh, I got to rearrange it to make sure the right color is united. You just marquee to select all of these in the selection mode with the selection tool. You just drag a marquee over all of these and it will select all of them. Now it's not grouped. Do you see here on the properties panel how it gives me an option to group it? That's how you know whether something's grouped or not. If it's grouped, it'll give me an option to ungroup it. But in this case, it's not, and we don't need it to be. So if I wanted to make this all into one shape, I just hit that. Now it is one shape. There's no other shapes there. And you cannot modify it. You can't go back. So if you wanted to change that, like if you were making this into Mickey Mouse, and you wanted those ears to be smaller and up high, you'd have to go backwards and do it. And then you would, this one smaller, this one smaller. Now you'll have Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse. So this one's minus front. So in minus front, the resulting shape has the color of the bottom. So we'll go here. See how it says minus front. So now it's taken out the topmost shapes and left you with the bottommost shape. So minus the front from the back. So these three shapes are not a very good use of that. I'll tell you what would be a great use of that we're going to do later is if you wanted to create a donut, you would set this in the center. And again, you see how my smart guides are telling me all kinds of stuff? It's saying center. Let me go bigger. So what I did is I duplicated this. And let me show you again. I took this yellow, and you can just drag it to duplicate it. And then I grab the corner, hold shift so it's proportionate, put it in the center, and you see how it says center? Then I marquee over both of these, and I do minus front. Now, the reason why it's not doing it is because the shape I want to come out of the background must not be in the front. It needs to be in the front. What you want to cut out has to be. So now if I bring that to the front, it'll work fine. Minus front. Okay, so this one's intersect. So that means that it's going to make a shape, the top color, which is the blue, where the shapes intersect. So again, I'm going to marquee over all of these, and I'm going to go to this third one. So do you see where they intersect? So it created one shape from where they intersect. So maybe if you're doing this one, you'd want to go and just do these two. This would make a shape that would be useful. There it is. That's a lot easier than making that shape with the pen tool. Using cutting to make shapes, two full shapes and overlapping them is a much easier way because now I can take that, hold the option key, drag it, turn it like this. I can take the rectangle, go like this, and now I have a lovely flower. And you can take this one, and remember, hold in the corner like that to rotate it. And that leaf is going to be much easier to make that way than if you drew it by hand. Okay, exclude is the opposite of intersect. So whereas intersect gave us the shapes in between, exclude takes all these like that. Now, do you notice what's happened over here on the panel? The word ungroup has appeared. Watch, I'll undo it. It's giving me the option to group these. Once I do this, it says ungroup. That means that when it created this exclusion, it grouped them. So I'm going to ungroup, and I have all these cool shapes to work with. Each one of these is an independent shape. So if you look at your Pathfinder panel, the first row is shape modes. The second row is the actual Pathfinder. And these always group. First one we're going to do, and again, you marquee over them, and I'm going to go to divide. Now it looks like nothing happened, right? But look what's happened over here, ungroup. I have to ungroup because it made a bunch of pieces. That piece, that piece, that piece. It looks like a little bird, right? And then this is its wings. Sure, it's going to have some trouble flying, but there we go. Okay, so that's divide. It chops it all up into pieces. So the second one is trim. Again, it's grouped it. So you go to ungroup and you can see what it's done. It's just broken it apart, but not where they overlap. It just cut them. Okay, now merge is kind of tricky. What it does is it merges the common colors and cuts the other one out. So that's why I made both of these circles yellow. Now again, I have to ungroup. All of these have to be ungrouped. And so all it did was take that away from that. Crop takes all the overlaps in the topmost object, which right now you can see which one's the topmost, right? This one, because it's overlapping the others. So it's going to take the shapes from that. The shapes, and this is a shape too. So you've got, let's ungroup these. You've got this one, and you should have a bottom one too. Yeah, I'll fill that bottom one in now with blue, and it's created that, which is a nice little logo shape actually, right? Okay, so then there's outline. Outline is kind of straightforward. It turns them into outlines, and it'll turn them into whatever outline they are filled right now. So this one, oh, and again, you have to ungroup. I never use this one, but it's kind of cool. And then of course you can change all these. All it's done is made these weird little shapes for you, right? Tons of little shapes. Right now they're really faint, but you could highlight them and you could put the stroke on 3-point stroke. Then you can really see. Look, we have another logo design. And then there's minus back. So whatever is the farthest in the back is punched out. You don't have to ungroup. Notice there's no ungroup because there's just that one little thing. So you're probably wondering, those are great, but how can I use these to make things? Okay, so we're gonna make this thing right here. We already got our blue shape, that's no problem. Now we're gonna take these and unite. So I'm gonna highlight this. So basically what I wanna do is combine the top circle with the bottom rectangle. Then I wanna use this to create that moon shape in the eye. So that will be minus front. I wanna subtract this front circle from this back circle, because that's a full, it's just 2 circles. Easiest way to create a moon. So we'll go minus front. Now I have the moon shape. And then this one, I want to create this eye, the outer eye shape. Easiest way to do that is to take these two and get them where they intersect. Now I have the eye. So then I've made all these shapes and I just pile them on. That is the eye. And again, my smart guys are telling me what's up. So that's how you can use these to create. So let's create some logos that you might have seen before. All right, we're gonna start with this Mitsubishi logo. So I need to make a triangle. I'm not even gonna ask you because I know you guys know how to make a triangle. You start in the center. It's already got, I'm already triangle-ish. I'm gonna make, now whenever you're drawing something that the default is white fill, but when you have something underneath that you wanna see, just make the fill none, so you can see what you're doing. And then I'm just gonna bump this using the selection tool. Remember, I don't wanna get into the actual points of it like that, because things can go wrong. I wanna use the selection tool and I wanna bump this right to where I need it. Perfect, oh, a little shorter. Okay, so there's the outer triangle. Now all I gotta do is create another triangle. I can actually copy this. So I want to show you how you can duplicate things precisely. This icon right here is the scale. So what I want to do with that selected is I want to scale it at 34%. But I don't want to get rid of this triangle, right? I still need this big triangle. I want to make an additional one. So instead of hitting OK, if I hit OK, it's going to reduce the size of that triangle. But if I hit copy, it's going to make a triangle for it. Now this one, I don't want to put a stroke on. I want to go none for the stroke, fill on black. And I'm just going to move this into, let's get it a little closer. And I'm going to put this right here. And then to move it over to the right without it going up or down, I just hold the Option key to duplicate and then the Shift key to keep it in line. Option key to duplicate it. And then I want to duplicate one more right there. If I want to subtract these from the back, it's too many objects. If I selected all 3 of these, it wouldn't work. I need to group all these, which essentially makes them a compound path. So if I group, and again, whenever you select more than one thing, group shows up as an option on the properties panel. So you don't have to go looking for that. I'm going to group those. I only have 2 objects. I have the back triangle and these 3 front triangles, and I can fill the whole thing with red. You can see I still messed it up by just a little bit right there. So I'd have to go back again and move that triangle slightly to the right. It has to be right on the line to get this to work perfectly. Okay, so it might take you a couple times. I'm not going to keep doing it, but I want you to know that that's. So do the Chanel logo. So I'm going to create a perfect circle, start in the center, Option to keep the center, Shift to make it perfect. I'm going to go like that. Go over a little bit, and then I'm going to multiply that. Same way again, I'm going to go to the Scale tool, and I want to make this 68%. And I'm going to say copy. So this one is, we can even make it a color so you can see. This one's up front, and you got to make sure it's up front. So I'm going to say bring to front, even though I know it is. Then I'm going to highlight both, minus the front. So now I have my circle. There we go. I'm going to fill this in with nothing so I can still see what I need to do next. And then I'm going to make a triangle to cut out that other shape. So I'll go to my polygon tool, and I'll just create a triangle. Now, if I want that triangle to be perfectly horizontal, I can hold this Shift key. Okay, so I want to place that triangle so it's right there. And it doesn't matter what color this is. You could make this purple. I'm going to cut that one out of this. Minus front, yeah. So now I got my Chanel. I'm going to fill it, go black, use my space bar to move this over. I want to duplicate this, so I'll just hold the Option key and then the Shift key to keep it perfectly level. Now, I want to flip this, and I can go to transform, but everything's pretty much here on the properties panel. Do you see this little flip icon? Go back. I don't want these, when I'm doing a logo, I don't want these to be two separate pieces. I want them to be one piece. There we go. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do Google. Okay, so I made all these colors, basically just rough shapes that cover this G. So when I put this G here, I'm going to fill it with, again, with none so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to place it so that it's all of it is covered by color. Make sure that it's in front, and we should be able to crop that. There we go. So that means it took the front object, which was the G, and cropped it out of the back object. So other than that one being imperfect, that's 3 logos with there. Now, you don't need to remember which one is which. When you hover over them, they tell you which is which. Now, the other thing that you can use is the Shape Builder. So in this case, we have some of these rings go behind and some in front. We want to make these rings, but we need to break them into pieces and unite them. So it's actually really easy. Let's draw our circle. Now in this case, I actually know what I want the circle to be. So instead of drawing it, I'm just going to click 1.5 inches by 1.5. Okay, and then I want to make the inner circle for that. So that's easy. And I'm going to put a color on this. And I'm going to go back to my scale tool. With this selected, I'm going to click on the scale tool, double click. And I want the inner circle to be about 83%. And I want to make a copy. So now I have this circle. And remember, whatever you last created is topmost. So this circle was created second, so it's at top. So I don't even have to worry about that. And then I'll just marquee across both and do the minus front. Now I have my ring. So now all I have to do is duplicate it. So the first one, I'm going to hold down the Option key and the Shift key to keep it in line, and I'm going to drag it right there. Now that I've dragged that distance, when I hit Command D or duplicate, it will go the exact same space. And it'll keep doing that. Look, it's going to duplicate it in the exact same measurement as the last thing I did. Then I'm going to marquee over 2 of these circles, hold the Option key to duplicate it, and I'll bring these down to here. Perfect. So now I have my rings, but in order to color them, I really need to kind of break some apart here and others there, right? So that's when the wonderful Shape Builder comes in. Shape Builder is right here. And again, all of the tools on here, if you don't know what they are, you just hover over them. They'll not only tell you what they are, but they'll show you the shortcut. So Shape Builder tool is right here. Now, the first thing you need to do before you use that, though, is remember you can't affect something until you select it. So I'm going to marquee over all of these rings, right? And watch this. This is one of my favorite tools. I'm going to click on the Shape Builder tool, and I'm going to look up here for reference. So I want this blue ring to go over there. So I'm going to, everywhere where you touch, it grays in. Now, right now, that piece is right there, but I want to unite this across like that. Now, the yellow one, I actually want to go over, so I'm going to drag over there. The yellow one goes over the black, so I'm going to drag that to there. Let me go in closer. Well, that's close. I can go and still see it. The green one, I want all of this to be one piece. So let's make sure we got this all right. So now down here, we've got black up to the green. So that means that I want this whole piece to be solid until it gets to that ring. Now up here, this black one goes solid all the way to the green. So when it's colored in like that, I'm not even clicking, I'm just hovering. Now when I click down and drag, it does it automatically. This green is gonna go over, which that looks good, that's fine. And then the green goes over the red, so that means I need to unite all of these pieces. So it's essentially like using the Pathfinder, but on the fly, making combinations, okay? So this red ring goes over the green right there, so I can actually just drag that. And I think I got it all, we'll find out. To colorize these, I'll just use the eyedropper. If you have a color sitting here, and you do, you can just use the eyedropper, select the item, and eyedrop the color. Now we'll leave that one yellow. We need this piece to be black. And to select multiple pieces, you just hold down the Shift key. So I've selected that piece, but I also want to select that one. So I hold Shift, and now I've selected both. And I want those to be, now this one, and I'll hold Shift and select that piece also, needs to be green. And then this one, which is this piece, and I want that one to be red. And there you go. Now, if you drag this all out, you'll see that there's a piece, there's a piece, there's a piece. I've joined and cut all these pieces by dragging it with the Shape Builder. And in case that's not clear, you'll get to do something really fun, which is you're going to use the Shape Builder tool to create 3 different illustrations with this. So this is how you do it. You select all of this. Everything that you want to apply the Shape Builder tool, you have to select first. So I select all these circles. Then I select the Shape Builder. And Shape Builder tool is with the live bucket and live paint, just in case you have one of those up front, Shape Builder tool. And you can just start you can eliminate all these little ones, and you can do as complicated or simple of an illustration as you want. I can eliminate all this and make this whole circle into one. Missed that piece, there we go. I can make this into one. You're just dragging, all you're doing is dragging. Anytime I've made them a solid shape. So this one, so I can make this one red, and this one, and make it. So I want you to get creative. And if you want to move these circles around, you can. Okay, so then the coup d'etat of all of this is your robot. I want you to make a robot. As you can see, you don't want to be making the same shape over and over again. You just drag it. So I'm going to kind of look at this as a robot that's in half. So I might start with my squares. All I really need to do is make this one. And I can find the center, hold Option key. I don't need to make it proportionate. And I'm going to fill everything in with a light gray so I can see what's done and what's not. Now I've got a bunch of other rectangles, so I can hold the Option key, drag this over here if I want, and then just size it. And once you've gone through and made all these shapes on the left, you just drag them over. So I hold the Option key and drag this over here, and the Shift key to keep it in line. Now these guys, if you want to make this a perfect circle, you'll just go in here, find your center. Now remember, make sure that your smart guides are on, okay? Because that's super helpful in finding the center. So I'm gonna make the big circle first. So I'm gonna draw from the center, keep it proportionate. I'm gonna make the outside of his eyes first. And then I'm going to do the scale, double click. This time I'm gonna put it on preview. So I can actually, since I don't know what number this is, I'm gonna say maybe it's 55. And I'll just click off, a little smaller, maybe 50. Click off, maybe 47. Good. But now when I say copy, I get both shapes. Copy, right? So now I can minus the front on that, and then I have a nice eyeball. You'll just keep going with that, right? So this eyeball, you'll hit Option, Option, and then once you press, you hold Shift. So you're going to create all of these shapes. Now, once you start creating them, like for example, this arm, I'll grab this one that I created. I'm going to size that, and then I'm going to Option, drag it here, size it until it's right. Then I have a rectangle here. Now, if I want this to all be one shape, I can just highlight it all, bring my shape builder, and I can go, okay, I want this to all be one, and I want that to be one, and I want this to be one. Perfect. So now this center circle can be white, and this outside circle can be red. This is another piece that you probably want to unite. You want to make the rectangle, and you want to make the circle, Option from the center, and then you want to make the triangle. And then you can just size this down. I'm going to grab mine. Okay, you have something like that. Now to unite these, and maybe you don't want to, but if you want to unite them, you can go like this. And I want to make this circle all one shape. And then I want to make this rectangle all one shape. So now or you could make the whole thing into one if you wanted to, just by going like that. Now when you fill that, it's the whole thing. What you're seeing underneath is these, but remember that you want to put your new work on that layer that says new work, because then you can click off the robot underneath when you're done. So these are all the pieces that you need to do. Shouldn't be a problem. So what I would do is when you first get into the file, make a new top layer that will be your work and lock some other layers so that you're able to really control. Layers are pretty important in Illustrator. You really want to be able to control your artwork.